Okay, there we go. So that's the recording started. So hi everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Anna and I'm a Thermomix advisor and team leader based in Brighton. And I look after a team at Brighton, Worthing, Eastbourne, Hastings, Haywards Heath, Burgess Hill, Crawley. So quite an area. And today, a lot of people are on holiday or observing the cooking class. I'm going to be doing it by myself. So please bear with me. I've got everything set up, but something might go wrong at some point, but that's fine. That's the thing with doing lives. Um, Another thing I want to say, obviously, it's been recorded, FYI, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to spotlight not the camera where you can see me, but the camera where you can see the Thermomixes, because what I want you to see is what's happening in the Thermomixes. You don't need to see me. So I'll be doing that in a second. If you can stay unmuted, if that's okay, I really appreciate if everybody could mute themselves, because that one we don't get any background noise. Do you know any dogs or people coming in to chat? But if you need to ask a question, please do unmute yourself and ask a question. That's absolutely fine. I'm going to make 3 recipes today, and the third recipe, there's going to be 3 minutes where it needs to emulsify. And I think my camera is going to go silent because when there's a bit of when it gets a bit noisy, Zoom actually puts it on silent, so I won't be able to say anything. But what I might do is go on the chat, and if there are any questions, please feel free to put them on the chat, or I might check the questions that I haven't had time to look at on the chat. I do have some advisors on today, like Joe. So if any of our advisors want to have a look at the chat and answer any customer questions, please feel free to do it, because obviously I'm going to be quite busy doing most of the cooking. Yeah, that's it really. So I'm going to now, I'm going to spotlight. Okay, so you should be able to see our TM6 and TM7. Is that right? Thumbs up if you can. Thank you. That's brilliant. So I'm going to minimize this camera. Lovely. Okay, well, let's start. So I've got 3 summary recipes. 2 of them are Spanish recipes. So they are Spanish recipes in Cookie Do that I will just be reading out. But FYI, you can follow any recipes from any country. Just remember that there are so many ways of translating a recipe, whether you use Google Translate and you know, the Google Translate app or the Apple Translate app. You just have to put it on the screen and it will translate the words for you, the ingredients and everything else. Or you can always pop the recipe in ChatGPT and it will translate it for you. So nothing is out of bounds. And I will add the recipes. I'll send you all an email actually with the recipes attached to it, so you can have a look for yourself in case you'd like to recreate them at home. But everything I've chosen is summary recipes that obviously 2 of them are 2 very big Spanish favorites, but nice and fresh, things that aren't heavy when the weather's nice, like today, for example. So without further ado, I'm going to start. I'm going to start on our TM6 today, and I'm going to be using the Varoma. I really hope you, as customers, use the Varoma as much as possible. I always try and say it's not just a vegetable steamer, it's for so much more, whether you steam a whole chicken or make roast beef in it, or some salmon like we're going to do today, but also things like yogurt, steamed pudding, bao buns, dim sum, mussels. There is so much you can do with your Varoma. So I do hope you have been using it. So let me go into our first recipe. I'm just going into my weekly planner. I'm trying not to lean too much in and cover the camera. So our first recipe is here. Okay, so this is salmón al vapor con verduras de verano, which is a summary salmon recipe where we're going to cook it in the Varoma with some vegetable. So I'm going to press start cooking. So let's get my Varoma down. Let's pop it here so you can see. And I have, there we go. So I have 4 fillets of salmon pre-ready on the Varoma tray. And all I've done is salt and pepper, and I've added some cherry tomatoes to it. Okay. So let me go ahead. So the recipe is asking me to add the cherry tomatoes, to add some mustard, which I'm going to do now. Let's pop it over here so you can see a little bit better. There we go. So I'm going to be adding some mustard to the recipe, like so. Another thing I like to add on salmon when I steam it is tikka paste. I don't know if you've tried that before, but it's absolutely delicious with tikka paste. But I guess you could add anything you wanted to the salmon, any taste, any flavorings. There we are. So that's ours. Then I'm going to add a little bit of dill because salmon and dill go very, very well together, don't they? And dill is such a summery kind of herb. So I'm going to pop some dill on there as well. There we go. And this recipe is asking me for courgettes, but I've decided I'm going to use asparagus instead of courgettes because I really, really love asparagus. So I'm going to add the asparagus on top like so. There we are. So that's all ready to go. I'm going to add a little bit more salt for the asparagus just to season them. And now, just going to close this up. So, I'm just literally going to close it up at the top like that, fold the side, because we want that steam to stay inside the foil. There we are. With that a little close there. And we'll close it again as well. This one doesn't want to stay together, so I'll give it another. So this is our steaming boat ready to go. We're going to pop it in here. So I'm just going to pop it there. Now, there's enough gap here for the steam to come through, okay? Because that's really important. The steam does need to come through. So let's put it on top. Let's put the top on, like so. Everything is in. I've added the water, so it's 600 grams of water, which I've already added. Baroma's gone on top. And now it's going to cook for 17 minutes at Baroma temperature. So that's how quick and easy it is to pop your salmon dinner in your Baroma. Really, really easy to do. And cooking salmon in the Baroma is one of my favorites because, as I said, you can pop any paste on it, any herbs, any flavors that you might like. You can put lemon slices, for example, and you will have an incredible meal. You could also, in the bottom, in the basket, in the simmering basket, cook some new potatoes at the same time, for example, or any other vegetable that you would like. So that's cooking. So that's recipe number one, doing its thing. Now we're going to move to our other Thermomix. And we're going to start with our second. I'm just going to have a quick look in the chat just in case there is. Oh, what is this in English, please, Daphne? So it's called, I don't think this recipe exists in English. It is salmon in the Baroma with summer vegetables. Okay, so summer vegetable and salmon in the Baroma. But I will attach the link to the email that I send you. Okay, right. So the next recipe is an English recipe now. You'll be glad to know. And it's called the Green Goddess Salad. Now, this is one of my favorite salads. And there are a few Green Goddess salads in cookie dough and some different dressings. This is one of my favorites. But what I love about Thermomix and cookie dough is that you can substitute some of the ingredients sometimes. If I haven't got one ingredient in the house, I might use something else, or maybe I prefer a different ingredient. Like today, I will be substituting a couple of things. So don't be afraid to change things up a little bit. So we have our Green Goddess salad. Now, this isn't just a healthy salad, but it's super delicious and it's so fresh for the summer. I find it really, really fresh. So let's go. Actually, I need to go back to the beginning because I was having a look earlier on just to make sure I had all the ingredients ready. So I'm going to set it up as a current step. Now, the first thing it's asking me to do is add some Parmesan cheese, which I have here chopped up and ready to go in. 85 grams. Here we go. Oh, perfect. Oh my gosh. 85, 86 grams, almost to the T. So next, I'm guessing I have to pop the lid on. Let's pop the little cap on. Ready to go. And I'm just going to press start. And this is going to chop it in 10 seconds. So it's going to go very quiet. There we are. So this is our Parmesan chopped. Let's have a look inside. So that was 10 seconds. Now, the other day, because I'm camping at the moment, I tend to live at a campsite in the summer. I went to buy some grated cheese yesterday when I went shopping, thinking, oh, just for ease of use. But I did look in the back of the packet and there was potato starch. So I put it back and I said, I'm absolutely not buying grated cheese because of the added ingredients. I just want to eat cheese. So I bought a block and I thought, I'm just going to have to grate it by hand while I'm camping. So as you can see, 10 seconds, beautiful Parmesan cheese, saving lots of money making your own. And not just that, but you won't have any naughty ingredients added into it like they do. Okay, so I'm going to carry on adding the rest of the ingredients. So we've got some chopped walnuts, which I have ready here. So the walnuts are going in, clove of garlic, which I have here. Some basil leaves, which I have here. Nothing fresher in the summer than beautiful, beautiful basil leaves. Oh, just love the smell. Love the smell. So that's our basil leaves gone in. Now we have some spinach, which is ready here. I've washed and got it all ready to go. So that's our spinach. Then we're going to add 150 grams of lemon juice. Now I've just squeezed the lemon juice before for ease of use. There we are. That's all going in there. And I'm going to add a little bit of vinegar because I really like the tartness of apple cider vinegar. Then I'm going to add some olive oil. So that's 30 grams of olive oil, all going in. There we are. Like that. And then, where are we? A little bit of salt. This is actually our dressing, not the salad, by the way. This is the dressing for the salad. Okay, so next, let's pop the lid on. Let's add the cap. And 20 seconds at speed 7. So that.
Can you hear this?
Hello, I can hear you now. Hi, did you need to ask a question?
No, that was my mum talking, sorry.
That's all right.
I'll have to put myself on mute.
That's okay, no worries at all. Right, so I always like scraping lid, then the sides of the bowl, but let me show you. You can see how beautiful and vibrant. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? This is the dressing for your salad. That's why it's called Green Goddess. Now, you could also mix this with a little bit of yogurt if you wanted to, which I've done in the past. But I'm just going to decant. There we go. Let's see if you can see a little bit here. So this is our Green Goddess dressing. And of course, this can be put away and used whenever you need it. So I do make this sometimes, pop it in the fridge, and then I can just add it to lettuce and cucumber. You know, you can just add it to anything you want. It makes an amazing salad dressing because of the beautiful flavors. All right, let's put this back. A little bit of basil there. So there you go. That's our Green Goddess salad dressing. Let's press next. So it says transfer to a sterilized jar with an airtight lid and seal. I've just put it on a pot because we're going to use it now. And it says Store in refrigerator until it's ready to use. Clean and dry the mixing bowl. I'm just going to give it a quick clean. And now, do you normally use the cleaning method? Let me show you. Now, I know many of you like to pop it in the dishwasher. I'm one of these people who doesn't ever put my bowls in the dishwasher, but more than anything, because I want my bowl to be clean so I can use it again, because I use my Thermomix a lot. So, and I don't want to get the food stuck on the sides. If my dishwasher didn't go on till the evening, I would then rather have my bowl clean straight away. So if I go to my function, as you can see, I've got pre-clean here. And for those of you who are new to Thermomix, because I know there's a couple of people who are new, we have 5 different types of cleaning. So it all depends how dirty your bowl is, really. We've got a quick clean, which is about a minute, which is perfect for today. So I'm going to press that. We have, oh, it's not letting me show you the other one. So anyway, 5 types of cleaning. The second one is for dough, which is for when you need bread or scones or something. The third one is universal, which heats the water to 55 degrees. So that's perfect for any type of cleaning. Then you have browning. Now, browning is the ultimate clean because it's boiling temperature. And what it means is that it's going to clean your bowl really well, but it's also going to sterilize your bowl. So I do really like using the browning at the end of the day. If I've been using my Thermomix a lot, it's probably the equivalent of popping it in the dishwasher. And then we have the universal, which heats the water to 55. And that's for most forms of regular cleaning. Oh, and we also have the fat and caramel, which heats the water to 75 degrees. Heats the water to 75 degrees. And it's what it says in the tin. So if you use something with high content of fat, like a hollandaise sauce or a mayonnaise, for example, or buttercream, or if you make caramel, toffee, or chocolate, then the fat or caramel cleaning function is the one that you would use. So as you can see, this has given it quite a light little clean. I'm just going to go to my sink and use a brush. There we go. And I'm just going to use a brush to clean the center. There we go. That's it. That's how quick and easy it is to clean your bowl. And while it's doing the pre-clean on the Thermomix, I'm doing something else. So it's just very, very quick and easy to clean your bowl. So let me grab the lid. And let's carry on with the recipe. So we're going to go back again. Now the recipe should be here at the top. So I'm just going to press back and it takes us exactly where we were before. So it says clean and dry the mixing bowl, which we've done. And now we're going to add the rest of the ingredients for the actual salad. So it's asking us for some fennel, which I'm adding now. Then it's going to ask me for some dill, which I have here. Some lovely fresh dill. So let's press next. And I'm also going to add a little bit of lettuce in there. There we go. Lovely. As you can see, you can experiment with recipes. I know that a little bit of lettuce gives it some really nice crunch. So 2 seconds at speed 5. And that's it. Isn't that fast? Always surprises me. So it's asking me to add to a serving bowl, which I've got here. Look at that. So that's our fennel, our dill, and our lettuce leaves. They've all been chopped together, and we're just going to add to our serving bowl here. Ready for the dressing. Oh, love the smell. Isn't it beautiful? This is one of the things I love about this salad. It's very flavoursome, but it's also very fresh, and it's why it's perfect for the summer. Okay, so we've put that to one side. Let's press next. Now we're going to add some cucumber. There we go. And then, perfect. And then it's asking us for some green apple quartered. So I've got some apple here as well. There we are. Oh, there we go. The screen's gone back to normal. I can see that it changed. So I've added the apple. And it's also asking me for green onion, but unfortunately I didn't have any, so I'm not going to add that today. There we are. So I'm going to press next, and this is going to chop it for me. So again, 2 more seconds at speed 5. Okay, let's transfer it to our serving dish. So here we are, 2 seconds at speed 5. That's our cucumber and our apple together. Smells incredible. I love this salad. Have you tried it before? If you want to pop it on the chat, or if you want to unmute yourself, have you tried this salad before? Have you tried any other variations of the green goddess salad? Let me know your thoughts. There we are. So that's added to our bowl. Now we're going to carry on. Oh, of course. Now this is now asking me to add 8 ounces of fresh green peas, cooked or frozen peas. I'm not going to add that today. We're not very keen on the peas in this salad. So that's why we added a little bit of extra lettuce. And the next thing we have to do is add some of this lovely dressing, not all of it, because it doesn't need all of it. So I'm going to add about a quarter. And then we're just going to move it around. I normally just add a little bit, taste it. If I feel it needs a little bit more, I add a little bit more. I think it does need a little bit more. There we go. And then the rest will go in a Tupperware, in the fridge, in a container with a lid, airtight lid, and it will probably last for 3 or 4 days. So we can make some more salad this week. But as I said, even if you chop some lettuce, any other green, cucumber, you could just add. And also another thing I do with the leftover is, as I mentioned before, I mix it with yogurt and to bulk it up and make it a little bit bigger. Okay, this is it. This is like the perfect consistency. I just want to show you in there. We're going to add some to the bowl. We need to see what we're doing. So let's pop that to one side. There we are. Just going to add that there. I want to make sure that you can see with the cameras. Now, this salad goes beautifully with the salmon I'm making today. I think it's a lovely side for the salmon, very fresh, very fragrant. And obviously the salmon, I've added dill as well, so they're very compatible as a flavour. But there you go. This is the beautiful green goddess salad. And as I said, I think it's beautiful served with the salmon as well. And that's why I chose it. Perfect for the summer, I think. I'm just going to pop this to one side. And we're going to start with our next recipe. Let me have a quick look in the chat, just in case you have any questions. Yes, definitely. I'm replying to Francesca, who said she needs to venture with more salads. Absolutely. I find there are so many salads in Cookie Do, and all you need to do is go to the search function and just press write salad, and you'll have so many salad comes up. But another thing I want to make sure that you're all doing is filtering more countries, not just the UK. So if you're not filtering any other countries in the UK, you're missing out on lots of recipes. So what you need to do is go into your profile, go into your preferences, and then go to the very bottom where it says save default preferences. So you want to change the default preferences or default filters. And then once you've done that, you can choose how many countries. So make sure you tick any English speaking countries. So say, for example, obviously the UK, Australia, USA, United States, Canada, South Africa, any country that you would like to tick. Please do, even countries that don't speak English, because you'll find some wonderful recipes. But make sure that at the very least you have ticked. There we go. Sorry. Make sure that you have ticked all the English speaking countries. I'm just going to rinse this bowl out so we can do the next recipe. Now, because we've just made a salad, look, all it needed to do was rinse it out. I always make sure that these pins don't get wet, because remember, the pins are going in the motor and we don't want wet pins in the motor. Now, the great thing about Thermomix is that they always have safety features, and it's not going to break because you're going to get a message, an error message saying your pins are wet, you need to dry them, which I think is wonderful, to have these error messages. So it's very difficult to break a Thermomix because it's got all these safety features. Now, our salmon is ready, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to serve it in a minute so you can see, but always lift the lid that way very carefully so the steam doesn't come out. And I'm just going to take it off the hot water because I don't want it to cook anymore, okay? So I just want it to sit there for a little bit. There we go. Okay, so now we're on to recipe number 3. Let me pop the salmon over here so it's not in the middle. Now, recipe number 3, we are going back to a Spanish recipe. Now, most of you have heard of the cold soup gazpacho. I'm sure it's very popular all over the world. But there is a variation of gazpacho, or a different, slightly different recipe, which is more tomato heavy. And it's kind of a more elegant version of gazpacho. It has less ingredients in it, has a lot more tomato, it's got more garlic in it, but it's it's very thick and indulgent, and we tend to eat it like a soup. So I wanted to introduce it to you because it's one of our favorites. Now, salmorejo, which is how you call it in Spanish, normally has bread in it, but because we're gluten-free at home, my husband's gluten-free, so we tend to do, there is a gluten-free version in the Spanish cookie dough, right? So we have the gluten-free version of salmorejo without bread. So let's get started. I'm going to press start. And the first thing it's asking me to do is to pop a lid on top of our Thermomix, right? So I've got a little lid there, a jar, sorry, not a lid. And I need 80 grams of olive oil. So I'm going to add the olive oil into our jug. There we are. Slowly going in. There we go. Now, the reason we add olive oil separately is because, similar to mayonnaise, we're going to emulsify the olive oil into our cold soup. Okay, there we go. So we're going to pop that to one side. We'll come back to that later. So we've done our oil. There we are. Press next. It's telling us to pop it to one side. Now it's asking me to add some boiled eggs, which I boiled using the egg boiler mode earlier on. It's going to chop the eggs, but I've done this already just for ease of use, you know. So it's asking you to add 4 boiled eggs. It would normally chop it for 2 seconds at speed 4, but I did this already. So I've prepped this beforehand. So we're going to skip that step. It would have asked me to clean the bowl, which, again, that's why I prepped it earlier on. I did the eggs. Now it's asking me to add some ham. So this is some lovely Spanish ham. And again, I prepped it. I've already chopped it, ready to go, okay? So I've done the ham. I pop it to one side. But the recipe will ask you to add the ham. And in 1 second at speed 2, it's going to chop it for you. And it's then asking me to add it to a bowl and put to one side, which, as I said, I've already done before. Okay, so now it's asking me to add 1 clove of garlic. Here we go. So that's my clove of garlic gone in. Now it's asking me to add 1 kilo of red tomatoes. Now, for this recipe, or any, even gazpacho recipe, you really need the ripest, reddest, juiciest tomatoes you can find. It's really the secret of a really good gazpacho, and it's certainly a secret of this type of gazpacho salmorejo. You want your tomatoes to be as red and ripe as possible. Not always easy to find, but they had some beautiful tomatoes today. So I will be using these. Excuse me, I just need my spatula. Okay, so we're going to add our tomatoes. This was about 2 packs of vine tomatoes in Tesco that had 5 tomatoes each. So it's about 10 tomatoes. So it's not too bad. Okay, so now this is the key ingredient because we're not adding bread to our mixture because we're doing it gluten free. We're adding some carrots instead, 120 grams of carrots. This is going to give it the creamy consistency that the bread would have given it, but we are saving ourselves on the gluten. So that's our carrots gone in. Now it's asking me for a little bit of salt. So I'm going to add a little bit of salt. You can always go back to it and taste it, and if it needs a bit more, add a bit more. And then it needs 10 grams of vinegar, which I'm adding right now. I like it quite vinegary, so I've added a little bit more than 10 grams, FYI. But you can always follow the recipe, taste it, and then if you want to add a bit more, you can always add a little bit more. Now, this is where this mixture is going to, it's going to go around for 3 minutes. So I think Zoom is going to mute me completely because it's quite noisy. Not super noisy, but yeah, Zoom will mute me. And this is where I'm going to go on the group chat, have a look and see if there are any questions. Feel free to ask any questions. And otherwise, I'll see you back here in 3 minutes. You can always have a break. There we go. Right. Okay. So that's been blitzing for 3 minutes. Now, the reason why Thermomix is so good for gazpacho, for the Spanish soup with tomatoes, is because it blitzes the skin to a pulp. So you won't even feel a tiniest bit of skin. It's just the most smoothest mixture ever. And not many blenders can do that. I just want to remind you that Thermomix is over 12,000 RPM, which is a very, very strong motor. Okay, so this is what we have. Let me grab, oh, I've lost my spatula. Here it is. So I'm just going to pop everything that we have to the bottom. This is a really good way of making a nice homemade tomato sauce as well. You know, whether you can blitz your tomatoes, add a bit of salt and pepper, and then just cook them for 15, 20 minutes, and you make your own homemade passata tomato sauce. Right, so I've just done what it's asked me to do, which is scrape the sides. And now it's asking me to put it on for another minute, but this is where we're going to add the olive oil to emulsify the mixture, okay? So I'm going to pop the lid back on. I have my olive oil jug ready to go. And there we go. So then I'm going to add the oil. Adding the oil on the lid. Very slowly. On the edge of the lid, in between the cap. There. The lid is slightly slanted, which means the oil is going to trickle down through those holes very, very slowly. There we are. That's it. Okay, so that's it. We're done. This has just emulsified the oil into the mixture, which it's going to give it this beautiful flavor and texture. Super smooth, super yummy. If you haven't tried this before, you really must. So I've got two lovely bowls here. And this is how we would serve our salmorejo. Let me show you what it looks like in the bowl. As you can see, look at that color. Beautiful, red, vibrant. I mean, you couldn't get more summery than having a salmorejo. And this is perfect as a starter. So today, what I was trying to do was make lovely starter. And then we're going to have our salmon with vegetables and some fresh salad on the side. So I've just added some of our lovely salmorejo to the bowl. And then this is where the egg, I hope you can see okay there. There we go, just making sure you can see. So then we're going to add some of our egg that's been chopped before by Thermomix. I'm adding a little bit to each. There we go. You can add as much of it as you like, but this is made for several portions. And now we have the beautiful ham, Spanish ham that I chopped up earlier on as well. So we're going to add a little bit of that. And as you can see, this makes the most beautiful and decadent starter. There we go. I'm hoping you can see. I'm going to move the camera to the top. Can you see that? That's what they look like. Doesn't that look beautiful? And I tell you what, it's not just beautiful, it's delicious. There we go. So that's our salmorejo. So let me stop sharing a second, remove spotlight. Okay, so I'm back in the room now. You can see me. So these are our three summary recipes. As you can see with Thermomix, everything is so quick and easy that the class isn't very long because it doesn't take long to do anything. What I am going to show you before we go is our lovely salmon. So let me bring this over here. So our salmon, in fact, I might have to do this again so you can see the salmon. 2 seconds. Right, I've spotlighted myself again because I want you to see. My counter's getting a little bit busy now. Okay, so this is our beautiful salmon that's been cooked. And look at that. Isn't that beautiful? So what I'm going to do is pop it on a serving dish. Let's make a little bit more space so you can see. Just need to bring my camera down a little bit. There we go, that's better. So I just like to pop it on here because I like to keep the juices as well. And I'll just slide it off very carefully. Down. That's one. Oh, didn't quite slide off like it normally does. As you can see, The mustard gives it a beautiful, vibrant colour as well. So the mustard and the dill, it's a bit messier than I would like it to look, but hey ho, you can see. I'm just going to pop the asparagus to one side, the salmon in the centre. There we are. You can see the asparagus just looks so beautiful. And this would be our lovely salmon, which was cooked in our aroma 17 minutes with all the lovely flavours and the beautiful colours. So we have our salmorejo for starters, our salmon with summer vegetables, and our green goddess salad on the side. Everything's very fresh, everything very vibrant, very refreshing for this time of the year. And I really hope that you've enjoyed it. Now, do you have any more questions? Would you like to unmute yourself and ask any questions? Let's see if I can remove my spotlight. There we go, that's better. I'm going to have a look on the chat. There we go. Any questions at all?
I've got a question, if I
Yeah.
can. Aside, we don't actually own one yet.
Yeah.
But aside from the bigger screen and stuff, are there any sort of performance differences between the 6 and the 7?
There are, yeah, absolutely. So obviously the bigger screen, it does mean it's much more intuitive, much faster. The guided cooking is a lot faster. The motor is more powerful, and it's also a silent motor. So when you're cooking, you cannot hear the TM7.
Yeah.
Basically. So very good for open plan kitchens, for example, you know, a kind of open plan living. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, there are, I think, you know, these Thermomixes are built to last for years on end. Like literally, they won't break. I still have my first Thermomix, which I bought in 2009. They just go on and on and on. But what we do have is obviously technology moves forward.
Yeah.
So the technology in the TM7 is obviously much better than any of the previous models, because that's just where the way is going. The motor is a little bit more powerful, a little bit more efficient. It's silent, and also it's going to have AI capabilities as well. So there's things that are coming. We will get software updates, exactly, and all the software updates are free. So we will get software updates where things will get better. We will have new things. They never tell us what's coming. It's always kind of top secret. So we don't know until they release it or they let us know. But yeah, there are many more improvements to come to the TM7 as well.
Cool. Thank you.
Okay. So that's it from me. I'm just going to check the group chat, see if there are any more questions here. And please do let me know. And if anybody wants to stay behind and have a look at Cookie Dough, I'm just going to share my screen and go through Cookie Dough. The green goddess salad is indeed on Cookie Dough. I am going to send you the link as well. Okay, but it is in Cookie Dough. Absolutely. Okay, any more questions? No? Right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go into my Cookie Dough and share my screen, and I'm going to show you how to filter, because I think it's really important to filter in Cookie Dough to really maximize the use and get many more recipes. So let me go back into Zoom, share my screen. Okay, so this is Cookie Dough. Can you all see? What I might do, I don't know if I can do this. I'm going to pin my screen so you can just see mine big. Okay, let's share again. And that way you can see. Okay, so can everyone see my Cookie Dough screen, right? So here we are. So for me to filter with Cookie Dough, I would go into my profile. Let's see if I can, yeah. So my profile's here in the corner. So I'm going to go into view my profile. And here, do you see where it says search filter preferences? This is where we want to do. So obviously I've ticked all the appliances that I have. I've got the blade cover, I've got the Thermomix cutter, the sensor. I own a TM7 and a TM6, for example. And then here at the very bottom, it says update filter. So this is where you want to go to update your filters. TM7, TM6, I've got ticked. Then we've got languages, but I actually like to tick countries. because I'm Spanish, obviously I've ticked all the Spanish speaking countries and all the English speaking countries. So United States, United Kingdom, South Africa. I've also ticked Singapore because many recipes in Singapore are published in English, for example. So that's another great one. I've got Canada, Australia. I tell you what, Australia has some of the best recipes because they love food. They have a lot of chefs involved with cookie dough. Honestly, they have some of the best recipes ever. But as you can see, there are many countries you can tick. Many, many. France, Germany, Greece. You know, we have presence in 75 countries. So you can tick as many countries as you want. Portugal, Romania, Sweden. I mean, this is wonderful. If, like myself, you have a background with another country, you understand more languages, you can tick whichever you want. And once you finish ticking these countries, you just press save. And as you can see, these are all the countries that I've ticked here. So if I go back to explore and I put the word in pasta, for example, which is pretty universal, as you can see, I have 6,326 pasta results. And this is because I am searching for pasta in all these different countries, not just in the UK one. I can see there's some questions in the chat. Would you say Google Translate is your friend? And I would try and use that more. Definitely Google Translate, because you pop it on your phone and then you just have to, look at the camera with your phone, point it to the screen, and it will translate everything for you. It's brilliant. And also, if you're using your laptop, you can also use the translate button on the side of your browser. There's a translate button in many laptops as well. So you can also use that. So there's so many ways to translate your now, this is obviously what we were talking about. Are there any other questions about cookie dough? Any other features of cookie dough that you're not sure about that you want to go through? I'm happy to help. This is just the main page of cookie dough. As you can see, there's always a lot of inspiration. Hi.
Could you show us the shopping list? And I know it can link to
Of course.
Sainsbury's or whatever.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll do that now. So let me go into main dishes. Here's a whole steamed chicken, for example. Another good example of something you can make your aroma. So let's say I'd like to make this chicken next week. So I'm going to go to my three dots up here and I'm going to add it to my weekly planner. And I'm going to add it for next weekend, for example. I'm also going to add it to the shopping list. So now if I go to my weekly planner, as you can see, these are the recipes that I made today. They were added to my weekly planner. And if we keep going along the week, I also added something. There you go. Saturday the 16th is my whole steamed chicken. So now I'm going to go to my shopping list. In my shopping list, if we put it by category, it's added everything up together. The great thing is you can actually tick the things that you already have. So say water, you don't need to buy water for a recipe. I've got plenty of sugar, so I've ticked that off. You can also separate the ingredients by recipe. And once you're happy with your ingredients, you have different options. If you go for the three dots here, you can share the recipe, you can email it, WhatsApp it, you can print it. As you can see, you've got the printer sign there. However, you can also order straight to the retailer. Now, we normally have Ocado as well, but because there's been a bit of a breach, they're sorting that out and Ocado will come back. But normally when they take a shop away, it's because something's happened or there's been a glitch, and then they always bring it back. But at the moment, we have Tesco, Sainsbury's, Amazon Fresh. And as you can see, you choose the shop that you want to go to. You've got the swap function, which is brilliant because you might want to swap the quantities or the brand that Cookie Dough has chosen automatically for you. And once you're happy, you add it to your cart and then to your Sainsbury's cart, and then you can add the rest of your shopping, like your laundry powder, your pet food, etc. Does that help?
Yes, lovely. And there was something about a comparison with another shop in terms of price.
Yeah. So if I press order my ingredients, so I've pressed Sainsbury's, and all the ingredients that I have in my cart are £62.97, right? So it's given me a total. If I press order the ingredients and I look in Tesco I would pay £57.96. So you can actually compare the total of your shopping with each supermarket. I can actually now go into Amazon Fresh as well. because you can go in and out. Oh, of course, Amazon Fresh, I'm not registered with Amazon Fresh. That's why I'm not going in. But you can compare the total price of your ingredients in every supermarket.
Thank you.
Any more questions about Cookie Dough while I'm in Cookie Dough? These are my recipes. Are you making your list, your own recipe list as well? That's really important that you make your recipe list. So this is, for example, my recipe list here: Asian fare, baking basics, barbecue biscuits, bliss balls, bread, breakfast burgers. So you want to make your own personal library. So when you want to cook something and say, oh, I want to make something with chicken, I go into my chicken folder and I have lots of chicken recipes here ready to go. Okay. Any more questions about Cookie Dough? No, all good? Right, so I'll stop sharing. Okay. All right. Well, I'll have another look. No more questions in the group chat. Well, if that's everyone, let's remove the spotlight. Here we go. That's better. That way I can see everyone. I hope that was helpful. Kate, if you have any more questions, please let me know. Happy to answer anything. I'll email you with my details as well, and I'll email you the recipes that we've used today. So if you want to, reply to that email and ask any questions, my phone number's on there as well. So please feel free. I do have a YouTube channel as well with lots of tutorials. So do feel free to take a look and contact me anytime whatsoever. Always happy to help.
Thank you very much. Lovely. Thank you.
Wonderful. So I'm going to stop